I'd already started whenever I thought about videoing this. I hadn't done anything that was mesquite yet, so I wanted to show you something that was mesquite. And this is a piece off of a very large tree that I had to cut the limb off of it before I could even start milling it. And this was basically half of the limb, so you can see how large it was. The pith was here. I'll turn this out once I get there, but I was avoiding the pith because it had a big crack around it. And so you can see it was a pretty good sized chunk of wood. And I wish I had a bigger face plate for it, but it only came with a 3-inch, and I haven't ordered a 6-inch yet, but I've got all the holes filled with some good strong screws, so it seems to be doing pretty good. I've already done a lot of the really rough stuff, knocking off these corners. I've taken the chainsaw and knocked the hard corners off of it, but there's still a ways to go, and I don't really have a way to round it out other than just get it up here and start turning on it. This thing is probably about at least 40 pounds. It could be closer to 50. The wood is fairly wet. The tree was green when they cut it down, and this was right at the crotch where this thing split, so I'm expecting to get some really nice figure out of a lot of this. The other slabs that I cut off this are gorgeous. So anyway, I'm going to put on my face mask and go to turning this a little bit more. And I've got it up to speed to where it's not quite so bad. To start with, I had to turn it so slow, it just beat me to death. But anyway, I'll show you what's going on here. I don't always wear my face mask, but this has got a lot of bark and stuff that could come flying off of it, so I really don't want to get hit in the face. One of the things I really like about this Jet 1640 EVS lathe is, as you can see, I've got the headstock slid toward the center. I moved my rest, my banjo, I took it off that end and brought it to this end and moved it around to this side. I've got the headstock also turned at a 45-degree angle. This thing's 18 inches. It exceeds the capacity to turn over the bed here. So it's really nice to be able to turn this thing on a 45-degree angle, turn a bigger piece of wood. I can move my rest around and get over here and work it from this side. The only drawback, they have this extender for the rest that comes out here. It makes it great for reaching this, but it puts a lot of leverage right here, out here from your point in here, and so it bounces really bad and moves around. At the moment, I've got a piece of angle iron under it to absorb that downward pounding that it's taking, and it helps a lot. I'm going to make an actual stand, an adjustable stand that I can put under it, and it'll be a little bit more kosher. But for right now, this works fine. I've used it a couple times. I'm always too into my project to stop and build an adequate rest for it, but I'll get that done one of these days. But at the moment, this is working, and you can see that I'm about to the point where it's not too bad now. It's a little bouncy, but it's not beating me up so bad. to me, I call this part of it taming the beast. When you got something like this, or a large root ball or something that can't be shaped into a more round blank to start with, and you just have to rough it out and just basically have to fight it down to where it's tamed down a little bit and more workable. And so I got a big chunk right out here on this outside part, and I'll show you what it's like when you very first start. This is pretty much when you get started on one like this. This is pretty much what you're dealing with for 45 minutes or so, trying to get it turned down. Hard to control when you kind of get the catch like that, because it's bouncing, and it's either take little bitty tiny bites and take forever, or just understand that you're going to get some pretty hard hits there. It's just that bouncing when you're only hitting one or two places it comes around. To be able to keep it up against your workpiece, inevitably, when you go back a little bit, you're going to go too far sometimes. That's when you get those hard hits, those catches. I don't really call it a catch on this because I know it's going to do it. If I was working on a piece that I was trying to finish it out, I would call that a catch. But on this, it's just kind of part of roughing this thing out. Wow. Okay, there was a good one. All right, I'm going to put my brace back under there and go back to work. As much as I love my Carter & Son bowl gouge, this is a homemade carbide tip tool. It's got a square blade on it, radius. The nice thing about this thing is I can work this little tip right here and just be working a small area, cutting a very small area, and this back here is just kind of smoothing out and cleaning up, and it's helping me get rid of some of the bounce that was in there. And the only thing about it is it puts the shavings right back on you. But it helps to take out some of that bounce. I'm still getting a lot of bounce with my bowl gouge. I'm really happy with the way this thing's cutting right now. It also leaves a smoother surface. It's not pulling out as much of a grain as that gouge was. Although that doesn't make any difference at this point, because all this is going to be turned down. But there's going to be some really pretty stuff right in here. So I'm going to keep at it. Well, I had a bit of a major catastrophe. I had a pretty hard catch. Like I say, I wish I had a larger faceplate. I just got that 3-inch, but I had a couple long screws in there, but the other screws were only about 1.5 inches, and I guess all that pounding took its toll, and my piece came off of that faceplate. I put it back on there using long screws all the way around I had it turned enough that I could get it over my bed, so I'm in a little bit more secure position. I got my tailstock up against here. That helps take some pressure. It's a better situation all the way around, so I'm going to start working at it again and try to get this big piece out here that's keeping me from being able to turn it up any faster. Still working pretty slow, so I want to try to get that worked down so I can get my speed up and try to get this thing worked out. It's up there. Get my light around here where I can see what I'm doing. It's a challenge just to get everything in here, to get this tailstock up here close enough that I can get to it, and then still, because my rest won't go under. I'm just barely clearing the bed there, and my rest won't go under. So I'm a little bit closer than I'd like to be to start with. Just going to have to be slow and easy with this. Easier than that. Well, I'm going to keep chipping at it. I'll see you in a bit. And I think I finally tamed the beast. I got that big chunk that was sticking out here. I wish it was solid like that all the way around, just to keep a little bit more depth. I'm going to have to turn a good bit of stuff out here. That little tool is cutting really good right there. I'm going to get my bowl gouge back out here in just a minute. Got a new edge on my Carter and Son bowl gouge, and I got things going my way now. You can see there that is moving from the field now. That's where it's fun, when you see those children flying out today like that. And I'm getting pretty close to where I want to be, I think. So you can still see this long bark inclusion there. I'd really like to take that out. My intention to start with was to make this a vessel for a pedestal sink. That's still what I want to do with it.